In this section, we're going to talk about the 3-line profiles for doing a bridge survey. In order to do that, what we need to do first is to come in here and we have our proposed alignment, which is this right here. And basically what we're going to do is take that alignment and offset it 30 feet left and right of that proposed center line. That way we get the proper channel sections through there. Now typically this would be a 30-foot offset, but it all depends on what bridge wants. It could be a 35-foot offset, it could be a 40-foot offset. You just need to talk to Bridge and try to figure out what offset they need for that particular bridge that you're working on for the bridge survey. But for this example, we're going to use 30 feet. So in order to do that, we're going to come into our Open Roads Modeling, go to Geometry. Underneath the horizontal section, there's the offsets and tapers. Let's click on the down arrow and we're going to use the single offset entire element. And for the offset for this example, we're going to use 30 feet. The feature definition, we're going to use MoDOT proposed baseline. And for my name, I'm going to name this one 30 LT. That way I know it's on the left side. So I will select my proposed alignment. And then I'll go 30 feet to the left side of it. Left click to accept it. Left click on the no mirror option. And now we have that alignment created 30 feet off of the proposed. And then I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the right side. Select the alignment, go to the right of it, accept that, and then I will go ahead and click on F4 to clear that out. So now I have my two alignments created to the left and to the right of that proposed alignment. Now what we can do is come in here and start to create our profile sheet. So let's go ahead and select the proposed alignment, and I'm going to go to the Open Profile Model, and I'll just use view number 8 for this example. And we see that we have our profile right here. So what we're going to do is come in here and create a profile sheet. So let's go ahead and right click over this area right here. And I'm going to go to Name Boundary and go to the Profile Sheet option. My method is already set properly, which is the civil profile. I'm going to change my drawing seed to Design Full Profile. And for my scale for this one here, I'm going to do 1 to 100. That can be changed depending on what type of bridge survey that you're doing, but for this example, we're going to use 1 to 100. And then after that, we're going to change some other settings here, but let's go ahead and get it set up first. So we're going to identify our profile view, which is this one here. So just simply left click inside of here somewhere. Where do we want to place it at? And I'll just left click on this alignment somewhere. And now you'll see that you have your name boundary placed out there. Now it's not fully placed yet. This is where you can come in here and identify where you want that to start and end at. So for our start location, let's go ahead and change that. Let's go ahead and change that to 490 plus 00. And I'll tab to lock that in. So you can kind of adjust that to where it needs to be. That way you cover all the area that you want. So you can adjust that as needed. Next thing that we need to do, since we have our detail scale set to 1 to 100, our vertical exaggeration needs to be set to 10. If it was 50 scale, you'd set that to 5. If it was 20, you would set that to 2. So that is set properly. But for our available profile height, you see that we have a lot of area that is not being used. So if we want to shrink that down some, we can come in here and shrink that down. So let's go ahead and change that to maybe 120. Or maybe even down to 100. And you can kind of see that it'll shrink that down as needed. So for this example, I'm just going to use 120. You definitely don't want to go past what was in there originally, because then it'll go past your actual sheet model, which would not look correct. You could adjust the length of it also. Of course, do not go past this number, because then it's going to go past your sheet. But for this example, we're just going to leave it as is. But if you needed to truncate that down a little bit, maybe fit it to that sheet, you could do that. So once you have those set, and we do have the toggle that says Use Active Vertical, Create Drawing, and Show Dialog, I'll go ahead and left click to accept that, and one more left click to accept it. And then it should bring me to my Create Drawing, which it did. Inside of here, we're going to change our annotation scale right here for the drawing model to match our name boundary that we placed, which is 1 to 100. My profile group, I'm going to change that to profile grid 100. And then of course double check your detail scale and make sure it's set to 1 to 100 also. The rest of these you shouldn't have to worry about modifying. So let's go ahead and click on OK to that. And now you'll see that you have your profile grid out there set in your profile along with the existing for that center line. Now what we're going to do is actually create the profiles for the left and right and impose those onto this actual drawing model. So we'll go into the drawing model. Right now we're in the sheet model, but we'll go into the drawing model and actually put those profiles on top of those. So to do that, let's go ahead and go back to the default model. And this time I will go ahead and select my left alignment. I'll go ahead and open up the profile model. Select the view inside of here, and you see that I have my profile for my 30-foot left alignment. Now I can go ahead and simply do the same thing as before. I'll go ahead and hold my right mouse button down, go to name boundary, go to the profile sheet. These we want to leave as is because we're going to, like I said, take this right here and copy it over top of that proposed alignment. So we want to leave these definitely set to the same. So simply left click inside of your view, left click somewhere on this existing alignment, and our start location we can leave it as is because we're going to basically copy this from a certain spot and then we'll place it on that proposed alignment. So simply come in here, left click to accept it, one more left click to accept it, and then inside of here of course we need to change our annotation scale to 1 to 100, change our annotation group to profile grid 100, and the same thing for the detail scale. Then go ahead and click on OK. Now like I said, it does create the drawing and sheet model, which we're not going to use this sheet model, but we do need to have that profile out there so we can copy it. So now let's go ahead and do it one more time to the 30-foot right alignment, which would be this one right here. So I will select it, open profile model, select inside view number 8. Now you do see on this one here, on this particular profile, there is a gap here. So there may be a void in your terrain model that needs to be looked at, but that would be covered somewhere else in your road tools. So on this one here, do the same thing, right click and hold, go to name boundary, go to profile sheet, leave these as is, select inside of the view, select on the alignment somewhere, left click, double check our annotations here, change that to 1 to 100, change our profile grid to 100 scale, and then of course your detail scale 1 to 100. Click on OK, and now you've got that one created. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come into here and just look at this again. Here's your sheet model for this. Now to keep everything kind of in line, what I'm going to do is just simply come back into my default model for a second here, and I'm going to come back up into my home tab and go to models, and this is my center line right here, my sheet. I'm going to make a copy of it, that way I don't mess up these other ones that I've created. So I'll go ahead and do a right click, copy, and I'm going to name it Parucki Creek dash 3-line profile. And then once I have that set, I'll go ahead and click on OK. So basically I just made a copy of this sheet model right here and named it this right here. And then I'll go ahead and do the same thing to these two right here. I'm going to go ahead and rename these. That way I know they're my actual good sheet models that I'm going to use. And those two there were demonstrated earlier in the video for the stream bed profile, where I copied those two inside of there, and then also your upstream valley sections, like what we have here. So on this one right here, we got this one here set. A few things that we need to do for this particular sheet that we haven't done yet. Let's go ahead and go to the levels and go to the MoDOT design border, and let's turn on the bridge survey map, bridge survey title block, and turn off the final plans electronic seal. And then what I will also do is simply come in here, go to my references, and I will go ahead and move this profile up just to make it look a little bit cleaner. Go ahead and hit F4, and now you have that in that location. Also, I need to go ahead and delete out some text right here that's incorporated with the normal border. That way we get that out of the way. So now what we're going to do, since we moved that, we got it in the proper spot, what we're going to do is actually get into the drawing model of where this is at and copy those profiles that are left and right of this existing alignment. I'm going to come in here and go into the drawing model, which would be these two right here, 30-foot left and 30-foot right. These are the actual drawing models. I'm going to come in here, essentially just come in here and make a copy of it. Because the way the sheets are normally set up, these lines right here, they'll have a different symbology applied to it. Maybe a different line style, maybe a different color. That way it's easily distinguished between which one's left and which one's right and so forth, and there'll be a legend for that. So I'm going to come in here, and this is on the left. So I'll come in here, simply select the whole entire thing, and come up to my copy tool right here. And then I will come into the actual center line, which is to be this drawing model right here, and I'm going to come in here and simply just paste it. Okay, now I'll go and do the same thing to the right side. Go to the right profile drawing model, select this, do a copy, and then I will go back to the center line, and let's go ahead and paste it right here. So once you have that, what you can do is simply take this geometry right here and copy it over top of here in a common spot. That way it lines up properly. So maybe I'll look at a certain station, maybe like 500. We got 500 here, we got 500 here. And then our stationing, you got 5 plus 0, 0. And you look at here, you got 10 plus 0, 0, which those are common points for that, or even the 8 right here. 8 plus 0, 0 would be common with this 498 plus 0, 0. So that's what we're going to do, is actually take this and copy it over top of here. And then we can just delete out these right here because they'll no longer be used. So the first thing that I'm going to do is simply come in here and just select that particular profile. And I'm just going to change it to a different symbology. Whatever symbology that you use or what bridge wants for the bridge survey, you just change it accordingly. I'm just changing it here just to show you that it can be done, to make it a little bit easier for you to do. So let's say the color, maybe I'm going to change the color to red, and maybe the symbology to this right here. And then I'll do the same thing for this one right here. I'll go ahead and select it. Maybe on this one here, I'll change it to blue with a different symbology. Now if I want to copy that, I'll go ahead and select it. I'll come up to my tools here, which is be to my drawing tools, normal MicroStation tools. Go ahead and select copy. And I'm going to use my snaps down here, and I'm going to use the intersection snap. And I'm going to use 500 and maybe at 8 plus 0, 0. So I'm going to use this point right here as my origin point for it. So I'll go ahead and left click on that particular snap, You'll see it's being copied from there. And then I can go down below here and find 498 plus 00, go up and find 500, which is right here. And that would be the common point right there for that. So now I can come in here and simply left click to accept it. Hit F4 to clear it out. And now you have that particular profile inside of here. And then you can do the same thing to this one right here. Select it. Copy 8 plus 00 at 500, which would be right here. Left click to accept that snap, and then go down below here and do the same thing. 498 at an elevation of 500, which would be right there. And once it's done, I'll go ahead and right click to reset it. And now we're finished. So now you have those particular left and right 30-foot offset profiles over top of here. Now you could have came in here, another way you could have done it is referenced in the actual drawing model for each one of those and turned off all the levels, but then you still wouldn't have the ability to change the symbology of it. So for this particular situation, it's best just to copy those inside of here, change the symbology of it, and then come in here and move them to the correct spots for doing a bridge survey. So once you have that done, what we need to do next is come in here and delete out this geometry that's outside of here. If not, it's going to show up in our sheet model since those are no longer being used. And then you can still come in here, put in your title for this, put in a legend for these offsets and so forth. Do what you need to do inside of this drawing model. And then, of course, that'll be reflected back to your sheet model. So if I go back to that particular sheet model, which is the Parucci Creek 3-line profiles, you'll see all 3 of those are being displayed inside of here now. So that's just some general guidance of creating a bridge profile sheet, dealing with the stream bed profiles, along with the valley sections, and then also your 3-line profiles that we just showed right here. Now, if you're finished up with everything and everything looks good, you can come in here and maybe clean up some sheet models that are not going to be utilized anymore. So if you go back up to the Home tab and go to the models, if you know there's certain sheet models that are not going to be used anymore, like this one right here, let me go ahead and order these by what type they are. Like this sheet model right here, I know I'm not going to use it anymore because I'm using this one here. You know, you can come in here and remove those if you wish. So if I come in here and I select that one and that one, even this one right here, it'll probably says, do you really want to do that? I'll just select yes to that. Check that in. And this is where you can come in here and start to clean up some of your stuff if you do need to do that. Let's see here. Even these valley sections right here, you know, those are not being utilized because they're incorporated with this particular sheet. And it's the same thing for these right here. You know, you could come in here and delete out these 2. Check that back in. So now we just have our 3 sheets that we're going to be utilizing. We still have all of our drawing models that are being used inside of these, so we definitely don't want to delete these out. But we have our proper sheet models that we're going to use for this particular bridge survey. So that's just some general guidance of creating bridge surveys here at MoDOT.